Hello. Today we are starting the program with a conversation about why we are doing so much against Evolutionary Publishing and Marcel Dupree. End of day, no matter what, before anything, before the written sins, before me as a comic book creator, comics inspired me to learn to read. That's just what it is. It's the truth. Without comic books, I don't know where I'd be in life, and that's an honest depiction. I am not in any way, nor do I think anyone who's come forward jealous of Marcel Dupree. I think some people are angry. I know I am. And I'm not angry over his success. Hell, I'm proud to see an indie creator be so successful. But it's not success. It's ugliness. It's stealing from creators. It's not fulfilling with backers. And I'd much rather be doing anything else. I'm sitting here in a tank top filming this. There's no PR stuff. You see a shirt in the background for Written Sins, barely. There's my Batman blanket. That's what I am. I'm a fan right now. And I'm a person who helped Marcel Dupree in the very beginning. I don't know if he'd be where he is right now. I'd like to think he would be where he is now, because then I'd have to take less blame for who he is. But I helped him early on. I helped him before he bought all those email lists to get bigger and better. And yes, I know you bought email lists, because I know you're going to watch this. It's no shock to me that you bought email lists, because you talked to me about it at one point. And I told you I didn't think it was ethical, but clearly you don't care about ethics. You don't care about anything. You want to rip everyone down. You want to talk to everyone like they're less than you because you made some money on Kickstarter. Not even a lot of money. Not even taking away costs. Let's just say he made $200,000 on Kickstarter. I think that's what someone had thrown around. $200,000 with all the different projects. Considering how many projects there are, it's not that big. And then you take into account that you're not paying for it. I don't want to talk about this. I really wish we could talk about. I like advocating for people. This is inherently the opposite direction of everything I created within the advocates. But how do we not talk about it? How do we not have the conversation about what you've done? How do we not call you out? How do we not have this? I don't want this to become something that becomes my fully everyday job. Today we're going to give you some updates later in the program, and we're gonna give a weekly update. Part of ICR going forward will be to watch what Evolutionary does and to warn people about what he does, and then that's it. I don't like the negativity that this is, but it is necessary when someone like you, Marcel Dupree, takes advantage of other creators. And what we're going to show today is very disturbing. And how you treat artists that you make arrangements with, and how poorly you are as a publisher. How dare you call yourself a publisher if you're not publishing, if you're not delivering, if you're not paying your people. You're not a publisher, you're a charlatan. And we all hoped better of you. And that's where you're seeing the anger. You're confusing anger with jealousy. No one cares that you're successful. What we care about is that your success is a black stain on indie comics. And we're all tired of talking about you, and we'd all like you to just go away or grow up. Because clearly you have no idea what you're doing. And most of what you're doing now can't be excused as mistakes. You just learned how to make money, and you don't care who you screw over. So we're not going to stop. But I'm not going to stop my life to just cover you. You're not that important. I'll just make sure everyone knows who you are. You know what I'll do? I'll tell the truth about you. And we're not going to make commentary other than what is truthful and what we're being told. We're going to treat this as a story, and anytime someone communicates with us from his group, we'll invite them onto a live video. We'll let the people see who you are so you can't hide behind a fake profile. Or your supporters, will put them for the world to see. Come on a live video. We'll invite them onto this program, ICR, to have a discussion about your practices. And then we'll start bringing it on the other side. If you have someone to send our way, I know Evolutionary doesn't bother with doing any press, because why would you want to answer for anything you did? But that's how we're going to handle it. We're not going to, and me personally, I'm not going to get into it with anyone representing you from this point on. I will answer people's questions professionally. I will not put commentary on anything to do with you. I will tell people an honest opinion, and that is that you're a con man and you're creating a Ponzi scheme. I know you'll have to look that up, and that's not a dig. I just don't think you understand what a Ponzi scheme is. And I that just comes from the fact that I've seen what you write, and you have no clue what you're doing and how illegal it is. And yes, I've seen a lot of screenshots about things you have said, and it's only getting worse. And there's only more and more people coming up, and there's only more and more discovery coming up. I even saw something on Twitter where you said you didn't make any money because you're just a poor school teacher. You can't brag about making all the money in the world and then cry poverty. That's right there. The problem with you is that you don't even know where the lies begin. And that is, again, not commentary, but the truth. As someone who has seen you viciously try to attack me personally when we're talking about you, that is a form of abuse in itself and will not be tolerated anymore. So we're not going to be having conversations anymore unless you come on a live stream. I don't care if you call yourself an aunt, you call yourself your cousin, I don't care if you call yourself your family dog. You want to have a conversation with me, you're going to do it live where everyone can see you, can see who you are, because that's what we're going to continue to do. We have a lot on this program that is positive, and that's what we want to focus on. But we cannot, in good conscience, allow someone like him to continue in our community unchecked. Trust me, it bothers me to not be doing more. I am a fan. I am wearing my Batman tank top. I am a fan of comics first and foremost. And the reason I am hurt by this is because it makes comics look bush league, indie comics especially. That's it. We're not going to harbor on this because there's more important people to talk about, better people to talk about on our show today. We will have an update every week from this point on. If you put a Kickstarter up, we'll tell the world that you're behind it. We're going to also reach out to the creators behind it and let the creators behind those projects know what you're up to. We're not going to go away, but we're not going to do this every day. We're just going to watch you. We have people now watching you for us every day. We're not going to continue to have something new about you every day. You're just not worth it. What is worth it is the guests I have on the show today, the information I have on the show today. All of that's worth it. For now, this is just about making people aware not to support that. Right there, or anyone, Marcel Dupree, Marcel Dupree's dog, Marcel Dupree parrot, Marcel Dupree ant, any of them. I want you to understand that they say that they're related to him, they are just Marcel Dupree. And that's it. That's the end of this video, because I'm done. I hope you are too, and I hope you don't support Evolution, because that's just it. We want to end him, we stop giving him money, because the minute he doesn't have enough money, everything's going to come crashing down, and that'll take care of the problem for all of us. All right, guys, and we're live, and new time, Tuesdays now. We open the show with this. We're expecting Sam to come soon, so what we're going to do is we're going to head over and give you guys the update. Why wait till the end, right? Let's get into it. Let's get the bad out of the way in the show today. Let's start off so we can get past this together, and then we could just enjoy the rest of the show being positive. So let's talk about it. Let's call out Marcel for what he's done now. And one of the big things back in the day when I first started trying to give you guys this information, I was told that this was just about my relationship with Travis, who's on Kickstarter now, by the way, and we're going to show him some love on the show today. Today proves this was not about Travis. This was about ethics. This was about how he treated creators. This is about something different. And here we go. Let's get into it. These aren't my words. This is everything. I'm going to give it to you. Hi, Rob. Firstly, thanks so much for going to back for the creators in the community. And that is my privilege, by the way. These words aren't my own. Remember, this is what we're calling fell prey to the Dupree non-payment game. The Dupree is the Dupree scum system. It basically does not pay anyone for the work they do. It does not pay anyone for their IPs, their intellectual property, which can include their art, whether or not if you ask someone to create something, it becomes part of their intellectual property. While they can't go out and create your own character, it's still theirs. Also, those who are listening to the program who have worked with Marcel Dupree and do not have a contract with him, and you want your IP back, there's a good possibility you'll be able to win back that IP, especially because of his work practices and especially because he didn't make a contract. Seek out legal advice. There's a lot of places that will give free legal advice. Please don't give up on your IP and be bullied by him. This is, by the way, from an artist who's a friend of mine, someone I admire, and this is what kicked off this whole suddenly coming out with all the information I had been like literally collecting over the last 6 months to a year. So here we go. Hi, Rob. Firstly, thanks so much for going to bat for the creators of the community. Attached here, you will find screenshots of emails sent between myself and Marcel Dupree regarding a cover I was hired to do for him for a series called Soul Pack back in late 2018. Marcel saw some of my work on Facebook, expressed he was interested, and offered me a cover job for $100. Normally, my covers go for $300 to $600, depending on the complexity, but because I was under the impression that Marcel had a line of successful Kickstarters and the art he posted looked professional, I agreed to the deal in order to establish what I hope would become a professional relationship that might reap further benefits. Everything went well at first. I sent the sketch he had approved on Facebook Messenger, and then he proceeded to complete 90% of the art. He specified at one point that he wanted the colors adjusted since the illustration featured a black woman character, and he wanted the skin tone to be darker. Please note that the colors I was initially using, including the character's skin tone, were pulled from examples Marcel sent me. That's important. He sent that. He changed his mind about them when the art was almost done. That just a timeout here. If you're taking from source material sent to you as an artist by someone who is the quote-unquote publisher, and I use that very lightly because we know the games he plays, that's on you at this point. Just as a heads up, that's not the artist's fault, but we're going to continue. I told him no problem and launched into making the requested changes. The last time I heard from Marcel, I had sent him an update, and he replied, "Looks good." After the last conversation about the skin tone, I ceased to receive any contact from Marcel. I continued messaging him, asking him what he needed, if anything, and requested payment. He never replied to any inquiries and ghosted me. I continued to send him courtesy invoices and reminders for $100 in polite messages, which he ignored. After Marcel ghosted me and failed to pay for my labor, I was contacted by Marcelo Trump, who sadly passed away last year. Our hearts and condolences go out to his family. And we had talked about Marcel had screwed over Marcelo, and he'd spent the rest of his life trying to make up for that bad image that Marcel had made about him and how badly he talked about him. So this is really sad. That the whole situation is sad, but this is even worse because Marcelo's not here to talk. But Danny is going to give us an insight that's not from me, so you guys can understand what I was saying was true. The creator and artist of Infinitive Punishment, Marcel had supposedly been in the processing of publishing IP for Marcelo and had run a successful Kickstarter totaling thousands of dollars. However, when the project was funded, Marcel refused to pay Marcelo his portion of the proceeds. Marcelo withdrew his art and intellectual property as a result. Marcelo had heard of my situation and sent me a bleeding cool article illustrating Marcel's miserable track record of running multiple Kickstarters at once and then cutting and running with funds without fulfilling backer or artist creator obligations. Marcelo also sent me that Soul Pack, the series I had agreed to do the cover off, was a ripoff of Infinitive Punishment. And that is true. I can tell you right now that he just went in as he described Marcelo, who I got to know a little later, as someone difficult and all that. Because at first he framed Marcelo as a greedy person who just wanted money, which was not true at all. And I'm very sad about it. And because I'm sad because at first I kind of doubled down on it. Now, he uses a lot of aspects of S&M, and I told him, Marcel, to be careful on how he used it because he might insult the BDSM community, which he did not obviously take seriously because he refers to his book Harpies as an S&M book, which we're not even going to go there today. I don't want to have a stroke from the stress of that stupidity. And I'm saying that not as commentary, but as actually someone from the BDSM community is completely insulted by his interpretation of what the S&M community is. Anyway, moving on. Sadly, Marcelo has since passed away, but the article he sent me gave me ammo that I needed to pressure what was owed to me and pursue what was owed to me. After sending more unsuccessful payment reminders and being blocked on Facebook by Marcel Dupree, because that's what you do when you have obligations, you just block people. I called him out publicly in January 2020. I was part of that. That's what started this all, by the way. And he responded with a scathing email advising that he was not obligated to pay me because he did not like the art. It did not look like a black woman, according to him, even though I had referred to art samples he sent me, and he had not used the cover. He provided a pathetic cop-out excuse that he had not had the heart to tell me how bad my work was at the time. Anyone who's seen Danny's work, I'm just going to take a time out here. Danny's work is amazing. I want to work with Danny. Danny's one of the artists that eventually I want to work with, and our schedules have not lined up as of yet. But it definitely, trust me, Danny's on my wish list of artists to work with. She's amazing. If you don't know, check her out. Danny Smith on Facebook. She did the Boobs book. That was a huge success with us a few years ago on the site and talking about it. It was an amazing project. It's just BS to hear she's not a good artist. So I had to stop just to say that. I promptly, okay, he had not the heart to tell me how bad my art was at the time. That was the reason enough to ghost me. Oh my God. I promptly fired back, calling him out on his ridiculous excuse for not paying 90% of the art that was not for paying after 90% of the art was complete, and asking why he fired me in the first place if my work was so shitty. Why did he not fire me in the first place? And asking why he hired me in the first place if my work was so shitty. I have since ignored his response and archived them, as I know he has no intention of paying me, and I do not have the time to entertain a cons man's bitterness over $100. At least there will be a small pleasure in knowing the public is made aware of his hypocrisy, and he will hopefully redeem himself or shout out of the publishing industry altogether. Please note that there are portions of these screenshots that are blacked out to hide sensitive personal or financial information not relevant to the information provided. I did reach out to Danny as another timeout. Nothing. I can confirm that nothing that was blacked out had anything to do with the conversation. So we're good. Anything you do see blacked out should be blacked out and should not be public knowledge, both to protect Danny and to protect Marcel, believe it or not, because we're not going to dox Marcel. It's not what we're about. This is not about revenge. This is about putting pressure on someone who is hurting creators. So understand that. This is not about revenge. This is about stopping him from abusing our community. Please let me know if there's anything else you need. I would love to see this madness resolved for us all. Kind regards, Danny Smith. Here we go. This is from Marcel Dupree. This is to Marcel Dupree. When you vantaged on me and ceased contact right in the middle of our communication regarding the cover, we were making adjustments to her skin tone and making the cover what you wanted. I was right in the middle of sending you updates and verifying that we were going in the right direction that you wanted. The art was about 90 to 95% complete, except for that detail. The blatant fact is you ghosted me rather than finish adjustments and pay for me for the work. The whole line of you being some tender-hearted creator unwilling to be honest and harsh about people's art is a load of garbage. Regardless of whether or not you like or use a cover, if the artist has done a work, you pay them. You also communicate with them about their work. If I'm such a shitty artist, why hire me? Why have me finish 90% of the art, save for some adjustments I was working on for you, and then disappear? That in itself is unprofessional cop-out. I messaged you asking what you needed from me, and you never responded. Marcelo Trom messaged me the Bleeding Cool article before he passed away last year, and it shows that your lack of professional to treat your artists or backers with respect or honesty. The fact is that you are known for ghosting your artists and colleagues for your unprofessional behavior, which is evident in the email. I really liked your work. I was excited to work with you, and I have a lot of respect for you. It's unfortunate that it's come down to this, and I don't know what else you can really. There's no excuse for this. There just isn't. You hire an artist, that's on you. This is disgusting. Again, kids, this is why you do a contract and you get money up front. He's the reason that artists feel uncomfortable working with some writers. And again, man, as a publisher, just horrible customer service, not taking care of people, not doing the right thing. We have to share this information. It's difficult. It's difficult to even read it, knowing that at times I promoted his Kickstarters, and I am super, even depressed to the point of depression, knowing that I had anything to do with him, and I feel dirty about it. And mind you, a lot of this came because she made that post. Because here it comes. I want to here we go. Dear Danny, one of my associates, his fake profile, which we'll go over in a minute, told me you have been saying that I used a cover by you without paying you. This isn't true. First off, for the record, we can't verify that he hasn't done it because he's unethical. So it very well have been made, and because he is not paid for other cover artists, and we're going to get to that. So don't trust anything that comes out of this man's mouth. We're only reading it because that's journalist integrity. But I don't trust anything in this. I never used your Soul Pact cover, which I believe I have to ask Danny, but I don't know if it was used on Kickstarter. So if it was used on Kickstarter, it was used as promotional material, or if it was used on Facebook, same thing. I didn't really like the cover because the character didn't look right. Now remember, there was a point when she was at 90%. He approved the sketches, so it's bull. She didn't look like a tan white. She looked, sorry. Didn't look good. She didn't look black. Oh, she didn't look black. Okay, it's up here and here. She looked like a tan white woman at the time. I wasn't really comfortable giving harsh criticism to people about their art. First off, we see screen caps that this is not accurate. He is nasty to people, including backers. So that's another lie. I just decided to never use it. You can check the status on the link. It has 0 downloads. Now, again, so he can send something that says 0 downloads. Meanwhile, there's another link that could have the same thing that he's not giving us because he hides the truth. That could have 1,000 downloads. No one knows what the truth is because he lies so much. I'm not sure he knows where the lie begins and the truth ends. So I apologize for not having the nerve of professional courtesy to tell you. I apologize for not having the nerve of professional courtesy to tell you to tell you how I truly felt about the cover. In hindsight, I should have just been honest. It would made I can't read that line. I just decided to never use it. There's a line right here that I just can't make out fully about their art. I'm not honest with artists about their art. That's what it says. I just decided to never use it. You can check the stats on the link. I have 0 downloads. Oh, so it's up here. What we just did there. Okay. It would. Oh, okay. Here it is. It would make things better between us. Again, I apologize. And it's theft. You don't apologize for theft. You go to jail for theft. And sadly, Danny is not alone because look what happened today. From Vin's L Tab, who has amazing art. Oh my God, I saw some of it today. I was blown away. So this is from Richard Boom, who actually contacted me today about his friend, stepping up for his friend. So thank you, Richard, for actually stepping up and protecting your friend. Here we go. Vin's L Tab says, hi, Richard asked me to contact you because Marcel Dupree needs to pay me for 2 covers. And yes, you can add me to the list of the nervous artists. And I asked mine telling me in his own words. And mind you, English is a second language, so this isn't perfect. And let's be honest, I'm not perfect with English either. I make a ton of mistakes. Notice when Marcel made a mistake above with this email, I didn't call him out for it. I didn't make fun of him. Mistakes happen. So please understand, this is someone who doesn't speak English or write English as their first language. I have worked with Evolutionine, and I'm fixing it as I say it out loud, just so you guys know, because it just to give you what he meant, okay? So I have worked with Evolution for too many covers on multiple titles like Harpies, Babylon, Working, LaFay, Harpies Origins, Soul Pack, etc. He normally pays me, and just with my latest works, 2 covers, he did not pay. I confronted him, and he said at the end of this month, that was in November, and he has never paid me and has just unfriended me. Sound familiar? So, are we really making something up when people who don't know each other, these people have no way of knowing each other, I don't think. And I'll ask Danny later, but and I'll ask Vinz El Tab just for clarity if they know each other. But that's 2 creators, artists, who are not getting paid by someone. And here we go, Chuck. And at the top of this, and you guys can get the article, it's on our site, IndieAdvocates.com. I said this, and this is important. The following was given to us by a talented artist that fell prey to the Dupree non-payment system, or game, non-payment game. Understand, wasting artists' time, programmers' time, editors' time is theft. It is, if it is done with an agreement of work and payment. This is what happened in the artist's own word. Obviously, I need to clean this up a little bit too, because I was rushing to get this ready for the show today. But I can fix it after we get off the air. But it's solid. If you tell an artist, you tell a programmer, you tell an editor, you tell a writer that you're going to pay them for their time, you've entered into a verbal, or in his case, a lot of this is written contracts. So he is in default by a contract that is written. While most courts say it's a little harder with a handshake deal to really kind of uphold it now, and it's back and forth with that, something in writing, instantly he loses. Obviously, he had agreed to make payments. You don't like the art after you approve the sketches, that's on you. You just don't use it, and you don't use the artist again. I have worked with artists that I have fired. I don't bitch about that. And it's just the truth. I'm sick of hearing this. So we're going to talk more about time wasted. So we have things that were stolen. This is art stolen. He used those covers with El Tab. Now, Chuck was hired, and I'm going to put it in his own words, so I don't want to say anything that's not there. Chuck, I have never really supported their company much. Nothing jumped out at me as something I really had to read. I was brought on to edit the entire wing of his publishing company. This was a year or more ago. He told me to make space because the projects would be coming in. They never did. That whole section fell apart when something happened to divide him and a certain other creator. Apparently, my phone is listening to the show as well. I was never. I didn't get that. See, I was never offered other books, never notified, never spoken to about it at all. But my time and more allegations had come out so I just left well enough alone. I haven't been contacted anyway since. So Chuck actually didn't take work. That costs people money. He's an editor. He could have been editing. He was told to clear his schedule. Right then and there, you should already be sending him something. Luckily, I don't think Chuck lost out on a lot because Chuck is a person who likes to keep busy. I think he luckily just lightened his load. I know during the time he had some work from me because he is my personal editor. Not my personal editor, but I trust Chuck over any other editor. And I will work with other editors, and I'll have him do a proofread after I've worked with another editor. I bring him on at the end just to be my proofreader. That's how much I trust Chuck. And I know what you're thinking, Rob. That's 3 compelling things. Is there anything else? And yes, Kevin Parton Rodatelli, and I'm hoping that we have a interview with him coming where he can actually tell me how to say his name. Saw this online and said this in a chat room on Facebook. Previously, I canceled my contract as a creator and editor before any work as a writer because we couldn't agree on the deal. But my artist for the series did all character designs and got ghosted. I have also built a website for Evolution, but never went online because Marcel did never pay me for the website development, which was around 25 to 30 hours of graphic design and compensation due. And that's just some of it. And I think I've said enough. We have better people to talk to. I hear Sam that in the background. He's beginning to show up. He's going to be ready on the show in just a minute. So we're going to switch over to talking about Sam. One final closing note. No one's making this up. No one is jealous of him. This is serious business, and he is robbing from people. It goes on. There's more people, more information. Him talking about stealing people's IPs and benefiting from it and exploiting them. He thinks it's funny. He thinks it's a joke. And by the way, final comment on this. That's the person he's hiding behind. I don't even know if that's a real person name at this point. I don't know. I don't want to say anything disparaging to the human, because obviously there's a human involved with this that is being used as a puppet as he steals their profile, but he is using their profile. So it is very discouraging. But like I said, that's all I have to say. We'll update you next week. That's it. We're not going to talk about Marcel Dupree until next week on our site, because I don't like ugly. I'd rather talk to great creators like Sam. So, real quick on the ICR this week as everything gets prepared. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean ICR. I meant crowdfunding. Wrong tab. This will be all tomorrow on the show as Sam sets up. Hell's Gate will be on the show. Barbara Unleashed, and both of these are taking their final bow on Kickstarter. Dabble Madness, which just joined us, is about to leave too, and that's from Frank Martin. Oswald's Chronicles is going to be on. The Formula #1. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, an American wrestling legend. Sword of Justice by Silvio Spati. The 8-inch mummy statuette. Niobe, Bright Right. Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies. Travis Gibbs, the person who I was accused of just defending and having a problem with Marcel Dupree. Clearly, it wasn't just him, and it was just at the time, in all honesty, no one else was willing to come forward. That is changing, which I'm excited about. And also what's changing is the ability to get another issue of Broke Down. So, Break Down and back Broke Down today. First day on Kickstarter, doing rather well, but let's make sure it does even better. We have Steam Dogs on the show tomorrow. Totally Rad Comics presents Boston Metaphysical Society, Guano Guy #2, Demon Bitch, Pink Puma, and the Red Rooster, Crimson Scorpion Volume 1, and all of this will be on the show, including the Kickstarter for the Epic Creator available on Amazon. There's Sam Johnson, February 27th Geek Girls coming out. We'll be talking about that in a minute. You're going to meet the Unusuals in February. And on the previews, we have Frank Gogal's Indie Advocates. Here you go. Dead End Kids Collection. And it's super awesome. And I'm pretty excited when Sam is ready. He can just jump on. I think he just got back from work, so he's got to get things situated.
I'm ready, Bob.
Hey, here he comes. He's going to be ready. Normally, we would talk about where people are going to be on the comic convention highway, but we don't have anyone this week, so we're going to switch over and bring up the video and where we see an art. And we're going to do some Geek Girl stuff today. So we're going to start over on geekgirl.com. It's Geek Girl Comics, right?
geekgirlcomics.com.
And of course, our friend is across the pond. Oh, it actually jumps to the Kickstarter already. So we get a preview of it right here. There we go. So, and this one's going to be called Geek Girl Tights and Capes, plus previous issues and trade paperbacks. And right now, in my home, and I will take a picture of this while we're live so you guys know I'm not full of it, and I'll put it in at the end on the site. I have the Trades of Geek Girl right near my bed, my actual bed. And computer. I've been reading them. I'm a fan of Geek Girl. I've been a fan of Geek Girl. Sam knows for a while. I really like what he does with everything. And I'm excited to have him on the program to talk about what's next for Geek Girl, because I know, last we saw in all the trades, things were getting a little hectic. Things were getting a little strange, too. So I'm excited to see what's next. And I'm just taking that picture now for you guys, and I'll see if I can get it in the chat room already on Facebook. But the first, these are amazing books, by the way. The quality of them, pretty thick, too. I'd say they're like 120 pages at least each. And let me see. Remove Sam Johnson. Try to see if we can actually bring up. There it is. He created 3, so let's take a look at the past of Geek Girl.